saying, no, Willem.
Oh,
not William.
Every other day, probably.
Probably.
All right, this just
cool
in.
Names.
My movie rating scale is now back to being pinned at the top of my Twitter profile.
Oh, well, there you go.
Thanks to Thrumwald for finding the tweet. He was doing it to give to Flower in the Discord. But yeah, now it's there for everyone to see.
He made no other movies that I know, this director. So, Sarah, I'm going to not see Affliction. Although,
or do, and tell me if I'm crazy. That was
okay. Who knows?
Oh, who's on the show tomorrow? I forgot.
Nobody. Just kidding.
Allison Sheridan.
Oh man. Well, okay. So we definitely need to get people to write in about Tesla.
Yeah.
Good.
Fun.
Get
fired up.
All right. Are you guys ready to go?
I am.
Oh wait, wrong show.
Yeah, don't play that one. Woo.
Not here.
Woo.
I had a couple people are like, I don't think Tom can do a political punditry show. He's too neutral.
He's too nice.
Which I think is hilarious because Justin's always pretty even-handed.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. You tell me. Go listen.
All right. I'm in.
Judge.
Well,
Okay.
You can talk about politics without taking a firm side all the time.
Hold on. I'll be right back.
All right.
Ray's trying to open the door.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wait. Is she standing on her hind legs and using her forepaws?
My poor dog he's under the weather. He's not even in his cage. Very unusual for him. Yeah. We were taking an emergency walk at 2:30 in the morning.
Oh.
I know.
That sucks.
He just has these bouts of just upset Tom, and I know the sound in the middle of the night. Like, first of all, I can't sleep through it,
right.
of the whimper, but also if he has to go out, I'm not going to force him to stay in his crate.
Yeah. You gotta...
yeah. Poor little kid.
Oh.
Yeah.
I put an image from, Affliction in the Slack right there.
just to see what conjures up.
To afflict you additionally, I guess is what I've done. I don't know. I have to see it. Kind of want to.
Nick Nolte is a fine actor.
He is. I like him. I like him. The older he gets and the crazier his hair is, the more I like him in roles.
Right.
I don't know what that means or why, but this would have been 97 was right around the time he was having his severe drug issues. So maybe that's part of why this.
Yeah. And as I recall, I think the movie's kind of about, about somebody sort of descending into something that's.
Yeah. Ray didn't like me getting political.
Oh, yeah.
I see. Let's see how it goes. Oh, these dogs, you can never tell. You never know how they're going to vote.
What are you trying to say about people who don't know how they're going to vote? Calling them dogs?
Ooh.
All right. I'm going to get us a person to thank at the top of the show. And then we can get going.
Sounds good to me.
Her name is Judy. Be like
Judi Dench.
Judy.
Dame Judi Dench.
Damn.
All right. Here we go. In 3, 2. Judy Enos has supported independent tech news directly for 5 years. Be like Judy. Become a DTNS member at patreon.com/DTNS. This is the Daily Tech News for Wednesday, May 22nd, 2019 in Los Angeles. I'm Tom Merritt.
And from Studio Feline, I'm Sarah Lane.
In Salt Lake City, where we had hail today, I'm Scott Johnson.
From underneath overcast skies, I'm the show's producer, Roger Chang.
We are going to talk about robots today. That's right. We do have some Huawei news to update you on. But I'm much more excited about robots. Not only robots, but please tell our friend Bonnie Burton we'll be talking about googly eyes in relation to robots. It's going to be good. Let's start with a few tech things you should know.
Ouya's hardware was discontinued when Razer bought the company back in 2015, and Razer announced Wednesday that online services for Ouya and Forge TV services will shut down at the end of June.
I've got a paperweight for sale.
Yes, you do, with a terrible controller connected to it. Where'd Tom go? Oh, he's right there.
Valve announced Steam Chat's mobile app is now free on iOS and Android. The app has many features the Steam client desktop chat has, including group chats, customizable notifications, and invite links. Valve is asking for feedback on the app and that other features like voice chat are in the works.
That would be great. U.S. District Court Judge Lucy Koh in San Jose, California, has ruled that Qualcomm's licensing practices, quote, strangled competition, unquote. Judge Koh ordered Qualcomm to renegotiate licensing agreements at reasonable prices and refrain from threatening to cut off supplies. That would be good. The judge ordered monitoring to ensure compliance. Qualcomm will seek a quick appeal to the Federal Appeals Court.
As opposed to a really long appeal. Takes a while. Microsoft's Windows 10 May 2019 update is available for download, rolling out over the next few weeks to those with automatic updates on. You can also check Windows Update to see if yours is available, start it that way, or you can download the ISO directly from Microsoft and download it manually. The update includes a new light theme, a Windows sandbox feature for safely running executable files, the ability to pause OS updates, passwordless login, and the separation of Cortana and Search, among others.
All right. Let's talk a little. Let's check in on Huawei. I have a feeling we'll probably be over big new Huawei updates next week. The June 28th is the next big trade summit that'll involve China and the United States. So I expect things to calm down. But for now, the BBC reporting SoftBank-owned UK chip designer ARM, ARM, told staff it must suspend business with Huawei because its designs contain US-originated technology. ARM is a UK company. It's owned by a Japanese company, but it uses technology that comes from its US arm. Get it? And it has offices in the United States. So it has determined, well, we have to cut off Huawei. If you haven't been following this, the U.S. has restricted domestic companies from doing business with Huawei, though there is a 90-day temporary license that has eased those restrictions somewhat. There's a little variability about how people are interpreting that. ARM, if you don't know how it works, licenses designs for processors, and those licenses are used for the processors in the majority of mobile phones, including Huawei's own Kirin processor. So Qualcomm, that's an ARM processor. iPhone, that's an ARM processor, even though it comes from Apple. They're using ARM license. And Huawei's own processors, they could say like, well, we'll just make the processor ourselves. Also an ARM license. So Huawei can continue to make its existing chips, but it cannot get assistance from ARM in implementing designs and would be prevented from using ARM to develop new chips. Huawei told Reuters it's confident that the situation can be resolved. Adding misery to misery, Vodafone told The Verge it is temporarily pausing pre-orders for the Huawei Mate 20X 5G, which is meant for Vodafone's forthcoming 5G services. Likewise, UK carrier EE saying it will also not launch the Mate 20X 5G for its 5G network until it can assure long-term usability. Huawei has a temporary license from the US to get access to security updates from Google until August 19th. After that, it would have to wait until the updates show up as part of the Android open source project, which would cause delays. Japanese mobile carriers announced delays to the launch of Huawei phones on their networks earlier this week.
Right. Yeah. From one hand, you're like, boy, the story just gets worse for Huawei day after day. You know, companies pulling out left and right. Huawei has said, for the record, we anticipated something like this would happen. We're working on our own OS. We're not really all that concerned. So, you know, it's kind of like, yeah, at this point, is it still, you know, is Huawei any more concerned than they were 2 days ago?
I mean, they're not going to say that because they need their stockholders and investors and customers to relax. There's already stories. Tech in Asia had a story today about some Filipino and Singapore trade-in companies declining to buy back Huawei phones because they're like, we don't really know what's going to happen with those. So it's gonna undermine confidence in the marketplace, and they have to do everything they can to counter that.
Sure. Yeah. I guess my question is just, it's sort of like, how much could the company on the inside be like, this is really bad for us. Let's fire up that OS and see where we're at.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that takes a lot of work. And now building your chipset just got even more difficult because you can't use the ARM design that everybody else uses. So really, this is out of Huawei's hands, to be honest. They can do what they can do and hope that this doesn't end up lasting more than that 3 months that they supposedly have parts stockpiled, and hope it gets resolved soon so that they don't have to worry about declining sales just because of confusion in the marketplace in general.
Tom said something this morning on TMS on your segment that it also affected some other products. I'd brought up their line of notebooks, which are, relatively popular. People think they're some of the nicer Windows notebooks made, certainly by Huawei, but you had said even that is a bit of a sticky wicket.
Intel can't sell to Huawei to make new laptops, and Microsoft hasn't said anything about Windows, but they took that laptop out of the Microsoft store.
Yeah, see, they didn't expect that. No one expects Microsoft to take you out of their store.
Well, we did this time.
The latest version of Tesla's Navigate on Autopilot feature, which arrived on April 3rd, lets owners, who are in the cars, who purchased enhanced autopilot or full self-driving capability automatically change lanes for what the company calls more seamless driving, more seamless experience. Driver has to turn it on first, so it's not going to happen unless you opt in, and then can cancel an automated lane change in progress by using the turn signal or braking or holding the steering wheel in place. But Consumer Reports says that its own test found that the feature cut off cars without leaving enough space. That could be dangerous. Also passed on the right and failed to return to the right lane after a pass, which violates state law in Connecticut. Consumer Reports Jake Fisher says it doesn't react to brake lights or turn signals, adding, monitoring the system is much harder than just changing lanes yourself. Using the system is like monitoring a kid behind the wheel for the very first time. So not a good report, not a good review. I do not own a Tesla. I have a car that has some semi-autonomous features. I've talked about it in past shows. For something like parking, where it's going to be pretty tight spot and I just don't feel like doing the parallel thing myself, works great. That is at a very, very low speed, almost nothing. If we're talking about passing cars on a freeway and you're going back into a lane and basically cutting somebody off, that doesn't sound so good.
Yeah, they make a big deal about does illegal maneuvers, and then they explain the legal maneuvers are passing on the right, which, I mean, in Los Angeles, I think we snicker at that because if you couldn't pass on the right,
you just pass where you can pass.
You'd never go anywhere. And then returning to the right after a lane change. I remember when I moved to Texas, nobody did that in Texas. I was so annoyed by that until I got used to it. Those don't seem particularly awful. And Tesla says, look, it's up to you. You have to guide the car. So if you're in Connecticut, don't let your car do that. If you're somewhere else, maybe it's okay. But the stuff about cutting off cars too quickly, that seems like an issue. And I know Tesla's saying you should always be monitoring what your car does. This isn't meant to be a self-driving car feature. It's meant to be an assist. That's okay until Jake Fisher tells me monitoring this is more difficult than not using it. I'm like, well, then that's not a feature that's ready to be used.
Yeah, that's the problem I have with so much of this stuff is, and the automakers are, they make it very clear, in my car, if I'm staying within my lane, which is a feature, and my hands aren't on the wheel for 20 seconds or something, it's 20 or 30, the car will just be like, well, I'm not doing this anymore because you're not following the rules. And it's a little annoying because you're sort of like, well, I could just drive right here. I know how to do it. So, sometimes I struggle with this thing that's supposed to change the way that we all drive and allow us to breathe a little bit more easily. And I don't know, look out the window, but this particular feature sounds, like it's got some work to do.
Well, Atari is showing off a joystick and controller for its retro VCS console. So when you're not driving, put these in your hands. They plan to have it finished up, the entire device and the controllers, before the end of the year. If you think the Atari classic CX40 joystick, which it was known as back in the day, you all know it, this old joystick for the Atari 2600, well, then get excited because one of the controllers is a slightly modernized version of that. We'll also have Bluetooth, USB connectivity, that sort of stuff. But it's essentially the CX40. The VCS modern controller follows the basic template of other popular controllers in terms of button layout, analog sticks, got a D-pad, it's got shoulder buttons. Both the classic and the modern controllers are remappable. They wanted to make sure people knew that. That seems to be important to some. Anyway, the Atari VCS says the hardware is almost ready for final production and will match previous statements that the console will be ready by the end of 2019. We still don't have a date. We don't have a month. But if you're looking for some classic Atari gaming hardware, it looks like this year is going to happen after all.
Did I read this right? That it will also the joystick will also rotate so you can use it as a paddle.
Yes, that is supposedly correct. Obviously, nobody's had any hands on with this yet, so can't really confirm it. There was some stuff showed at GDC, just some closed door stuff, but nothing really came out of that. But yeah, for things like Pong and other paddle based, I guess I can't think of any others at the moment. But
Arkanoid.
Yeah, Arkanoid. There you go. Paddle based games should be supportable, so that's cool. It's not like an extra controller you'd have to get. But the modern controller is interesting in the sense that if it's a good one, I'm a big fan of Bluetooth kind of standards compliant wireless controllers because I like to use them in other places. So this may seem like kind of an odd thing, but I want to try that thing out on a PC because I like a good controller as it translates to how well it would play on a PC. I use a PS4 controller on a PC right now. Sometimes I use a Xbox One controller and an Xbox 360 controller. I kind of swap them around depending on the game I'm playing. So that's of interest to me. But if you have been sitting there going, man, freaking Nintendo is having all the fun with these classic controllers and Sony tried, but it wasn't that great. And I guess the Genesis is having something come. If you're thinking Atari deserves its day in the sun, well, you're going to finally see it. And this is especially notable for those who backed this thing. I believe it was an Indiegogo campaign, not Kickstarter, but backed it all that time ago and had become a kind of, I don't know, impatient with news and updates. This is as close as you're going to get for a big piece of news and update, and it should be out this fall.
Yeah, Roger, you were saying before the show that as nostalgic as this joystick is, it's really not all that great.
Well, I was never a fan of the original Atari 2600 joystick. It was really stiff, and when you got sweaty palms, you kind of slipped a little bit, and it was a little too short. I mean, it's cool. I do like the fact that that form factor does lend itself to being left or right-handed, as opposed to a gamepad where you got the analogs typically on the left or right, but the D-pad is on the left. I'm gonna save my criticisms until there's a physical product out, and I can more professionally ridicule it.
Yeah.
I'm glad you're staying neutral.
This device can make some promises that need to be seen before I will agree that it's can do what it says it's going to do, like play a host of modern exclusive games. There's a lot of talk about it being way underpowered for that, or maybe secretly overpowered. Like there's just a lot we don't know. It's kind of a mystery box, and it's not really Atari who's doing it. It's just a licensing thing, and it's just a weird thing. So, time will tell. We'll see.
All but the largest Apple device resellers have vanished like thin air from Amazon's marketplace 6 months after Apple and Amazon made a deal which requires companies that want to sell Apple products through Amazon to do a couple things. They have to purchase at least $2.5 million worth of refurbished inventory every 90 days from either Apple itself or through a retailer with more than $5 billion in annual sales. That would be like a Target or a Walmart. The company also has to reach out directly to Apple to become an authorized reseller, although Apple hasn't really said, at least not publicly, what those seller requirements are. But to become an Apple authorized provider of repairs requires a physical retail space.
So this is one of those things where if it's about abuse, this is a great example of testing whether someone is abusing their market position, because if you take Amazon's name out of this and say, okay, there's a retailer who has decided that they are only going to resell, they have a marketplace and they're going to only allow people to resell Apple stuff on Apple's terms. They've made a deal with Apple, and Apple's like, hey, we'll sell a bunch of things through your store as long as you abide by these rules as far as letting other people sell. In fact, a lot of times in retail situations, a company may say, look, you will only get this product from us. You won't be able to sell it from anyone else. So in some sense, what Amazon's doing has always been more progressive than a lot of other retailers. But then when you take back into consideration, however, Amazon has quite an outsized influence on the marketplace, particularly for electronics, then it starts to feel like, wait a minute, Apple seems to be driving people out of the marketplace so it can dominate the resale of refurbished units and direct money into its coffers at the expense of smaller business people.
Yeah, they basically get to sell everything twice, or at least that's the That's the thing that's being levied against them.
Maybe that-
Have you guys ever gotten anything like refurbished or secondhand?
Oh, yeah.
Stuff off of?
Absolutely.
I've never done that before. I guess
I've done it many a time. Not
Hmm.
just through Apple. I've gotten open box stuff off of Best Buy. I've gotten refurbished TVs. It's a great way to go, because to sell it as refurbished, it has to carry the same guarantees as new.
Right. I just guess I've never done it. I don't know why I've never done that. It feels like that'd be a good way to do a thing, and I haven't done it.
Yeah.
Wrong
just
with
do
me.
it. Yeah. Well, but don't do it through Amazon unless you're okay giving your money to Apple.
Oh, okay. All right.
Hey, folks, if you want to get all the tech headlines each day in about 5 minutes, be sure to subscribe to dailytechheadlines.com. Couple robot stories here. And I think they go well together. So we're gonna pair them for you. Our chefs have prepared them two ways. Ford announced its package delivery robot called Digit is now operational. They announced they were going to do this. Now they're saying it's operational, and they have a video showing it working. That doesn't mean it's actually out in the world doing anything yet. It just means like, oh, we actually went from concept to working model. It's a two-legged robot created by Agility Robotics, meant to fold up for storage in a self-driving vehicle. So the idea is the vehicle does the self-driving package delivery to the door. But let's say it's someone who can't come out of their house. The vehicle then makes a map of the terrain. So it uses its LiDAR and all the sensors it uses to drive to say, okay, there's a slight grade and there's some steps and there's a fence here. And then it shares that map with the robot Digit. Digit is bipedal. So Digit will then unfold from the car, carry packages up to 40 pounds and take them to your door. It looks creepy though, because it's, wobbling up on two legs and it doesn't really have a face or anything. Well, our other story informs us a little bit about why Digit looks so creepy. Giant Food Stores is rolling out a robot called Marty to assist customers in 172 locations across the East Coast. I used to shop at Giant back in Arlington, Virginia. They are autonomous robots like many others, but they also have googly eyes on them. Giant president Nick Bertram told Adweek, the eyes make it a bit more fun. But Engadget talked to some scientists who say the eyes actually do more than just make it fun. Dr. Amrisha Vaish, assistant professor at the University of Virginia's Department of Psychology, told Engadget, humans are very sensitive to the presence of other people, and we behave more socially in the presence of other people. It's called the watching eye paradigm. So if we feel like a person is looking at us, then we behave a little better. Now that can wear off if it's a non-moving eye. We start to realize, well, those aren't really eyes, but robots are moving. Children as young as 5 react when a peer is watching them and show more pro-social behavior, less antisocial behavior, less stealing behavior. And a 2018 study from Dr. Vaish called Eyes More Than Other Facial Features Enhance Real-World Donation Behavior put a photo of a chair, or a photo of a nose, or a photo of a mouth, or a photo of eyes above a donation jar at a children's museum, swapping them out each week. And they found that weeks where they had the photo of the eyes above the jar turned an extra $12 a week more in donations than the other jars did. Now,
awesome.
All of this is to say that maybe Ford ought to put some googly eyes on Digit.
Now, I do not find Digit creepy. I understand that Digit does not have googly eyes, but I mean, we've seen quite a bit of robots over the last few years. Lots of different kind of robots, lots of different kinds of legs, lots of colors. If it's delivering a package, I don't need to make eye contact.
Well, here's the thing, Sarah, you and I are both adult people with maturity who want civility in life.
Some form of maturity.
I know at least a few, let's say 16 to 17-year-olds who the minute they saw Digit at their door would like to come out and Spartan kick it into the yard. So this is my worry, is that, as it always is, Tom's going to see a pattern here, because whenever we talk about these advances on this show, my brain immediately goes to what can teenagers do to jack it up? And right. I don't mean this from a get off my lawn old man standpoint. If I was a teenager, I would consider the kick, because it sounds really funny until later you get in trouble. But that's my only worry here. Other than this is great. Bring robots to my door. I don't care if they're creepy or have eyes. I love this eye study, though. I think it's amazing, and it says a lot about all sorts of things dealing with how we deal with anthropomorphized objects and machinery and animals. When the more an animal looks like a puppy, or the more a puppy looks like a baby, the more we are drawn to it, and babies are cute for a reason. We take care of them, and old people are nasty, and we have to all argue about who's going to take care of grandpa. Like we are drawn by this sort of stuff, and so that's fascinating to me. But I'm still worried about poor Digit and where he'll end up.
Well, I think we all understand like googly eyes, what that means. They're cartoonish, they're friendly, they're cutesy and whatever. It's like, imagine if a robot had shifty eyes, then it would be a whole different thing. Because
it might keep the kids from kicking it, though.
Might keep the kids from kicking it, but at the same time, I don't know. I always think of when I've been taught safety, if I'm walking around at night and I'm a young woman, and how do you sort of make sure that you and one of the things is like, you always make eye contact with anybody that you pass so that they know you're paying attention, right? Because if you're kind of, maybe you'd be more susceptible to somebody screwing with you. So somebody's got weird eyes. I always do notice that, because I'm like, I'm on to you,
Crazy
buddy or gal.
Googly eyes are cute. But
googly eyes are cute. So it's like it's designed to make the robot as inoffensive as possible. So I get that, especially with kids.
I can't believe Digit doesn't creep you out a little bit. It doesn't have a head.
But it's like, it's not a human. Why does it have to have a head? It just needs to come up my stairs and give me the cat litter.
I mean, what Tom's talking about is part of that psychology, though, because it's humanoid. I do think of it differently as a humanoid shape and a bipedal shape than I would something that looked like a washing machine that wheeled up there. Like, that would be like, oh, it's just that machine, big deal. But there's something about it being in sort of a humanoid shape,
it's lifelike, and yet, What if you put a nice baseball cap on him?
Even more. Now we've done it more. They're humanized even more. So I don't know if that's good or bad or up or down. There's a reason, like in movies, we've always made them, for the most part, we've made our robots look like us a little bit because we relate to them more. They can fit in more. Like, there's all these reasons why that we do that. And so that science is really fascinating to me as we move closer and closer to a world where robotics and super AI are not that crazy of an idea. It's not science fiction anymore. Will we continue to anthropomorphize all of our robots in the future? And I think we probably will.
I can't remember the model off the top of my head now. I did put it in my Tech Republic top 5 delivery robots, but there's a model out there that not only has eyes on it, but the eyes look where it's going, so that you get a cue of like, oh, it's looking to the left, I bet it's about to turn, and it does. So there's all kinds of other reasons to mimic human behavior. Sometimes I think we're like, why does this robot even have to be bipedal? Well, because it can navigate steps and things built for humans better that way. Why does this robot have to have a face, like Sarah's saying? Well, because it calms people down. It makes people less likely to kick it. It makes some people less creeped out, and can even like give you cues about what it's going to do. So because we're used to interacting with other humans, making the robot look humans makes them easier for us to interact with.
But not too human, because then we want them to act like humans, which they are not.
Right.
That's a whole other conversation, though.
Yep.
Although then if we don't treat them like humans, then we take away their rights, and then they get sentience, and then they rebel against us. So there's that whole thing.
I don't know how we win this one, but I am excited for Digit to bring my cat litter up the stairs, because it's really heavy.
You're gonna have to order less than 40 pounds of cat litter. Is that it?
It's probably about 40 pounds. I get the big jumbo one.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. Can't win with robots. We'll keep trying, though. Thanks, everybody who participates in our subreddit. You can submit stories and vote on them at dailytechnewsshow.reddit.com. Hang out in our Facebook group as well, facebook.com/groups/dailytechnewsshow.
Let's check out the mailbag.
Let's do it. Software-defined radio. We talked about this earlier in the week. Was it yesterday? I guess it was yesterday.
Yeah, yesterday we had the email that was asking, hey, why can't we just have multiple broadcasts on one spectrum? That was Jeff, who was like, could we do software-defined radio?
Well, Mark in Minneapolis says SDR, as the public gets it, is 99% receive only, not transmit or receiver. Receiving signals is easier than transmitting. The circuits are simpler. There's less power requirements, no antennas or antenna gates to deal with. The other part of it is simple spectrum security. FCC requires licensing across many different brands, and you don't necessarily want a bunch of radios out in the wild that could transmit on a bunch of frequencies. But the only thing holding them back is software. You're a rootkit away for some serious liabilities.
Yeah, I mean, that second one's a fair objection. If that was the only objection, I would say, well, but that applies to anything software, and we are better at developing ways to secure things. But you combine that with the fact that it's mostly about receiving, not transceivers, not transmitting, and the fact that it's not CB radio. It's not just an open band that as many people who want to broadcast can, and software defined radio might be harder to enforce that for. Thank you, Mark. I appreciate the explanation there. That was great.
Yes, hopefully Minneapolis is warming up a bit. Heard they've had some weather as of late. Thanks also to Scott Johnson for being with us on Wednesday's show. Scott, what's been going on with you?
Well, lots of stuff. There's always something to be found over at frogpants.com. I just finished a really dumb video and put it on YouTube at my channel. It's / Scott Johnson on YouTube. That is homage to Game of Thrones, which just ended. It's not a spoiler of any sort, but it combines Game of Thrones with a little bit of The Breakfast Club from the 80s.
I mean, there's no two things I want to combine more. It's as if you read my mind, even though I didn't realize I wanted it yet.
You might get a kick out of it. I put it all together today. It's that kind of dumbness you can find from me, the work I do. So head on over to frogpants.com and check all that stuff out. And you can always follow me on Twitter at Scott Johnson.
It has never been a better time to join Daily Tech News Show as a member. Member, you say? What is that? Well, you go to patreon.com/DTNS. You give at least $1 a month and you get a bunch of extra perks. Right now, there is a bonus episode going to the folks who give $10 a month. That's not even $1 an episode. And the bonus episode will have us looking back at May 2014 at the actual DTNS lineups and looking at some of the crazy things that were happening 5 years ago, comparing them to the news that we have now. That's coming in your feed today. Also, I've got an editor's desk that I give to the people at the $5 and up level. And that has been suggested this week by a listener named Jamie about spoilers. I'm going to do an editor's desk about spoilers coming out this weekend. So go join now at patreon.com/DTNS.
Our email address is feedback@dailytechnewsshow.com. We've if anyone has one of these Teslas and has some firsthand accounts, we'd love to hear about that specifically. But anything on your mind, bring it here. We're also live Monday through Friday at 4:30 p.m. Eastern, 2030 UTC. Find out more, dailytechnewsshow.com/live.
Justin Robert Young's on vacation, but Allison Sheridan is in tomorrow. Looking forward to that. Talk to you then.
This show is part of the Frog Pants Network. Get more at frogpants.com.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.
As I was doing the Tesla thing, I was like, well, then I'm going to take away Tom's line. So I just sort of fumbled through it.
Where'd Tom go?
Tom is, he's hard to pin Tom down.
Yeah, he's you can't keep him. You can't put him in a corner, as the kids say.
Nope. Roamer like a wildling, even.
Yep.
Hey, Odie, are you feeling okay? My poor buddy.
Oh.
Yeah.
Is it his food, maybe? Or I guess you probably looked at everything. You probably
he ate a squeaky toy over the weekend.
Oh.
The squeaky toy has been it's no longer in his body. But I think that was a start. And then he also ate 2 avocados whole.
Oh.
Yeah, and again, that was even before the squeaky toy incident, and I was like, okay,
Did he pass the pits?
He didn't eat the pits.
Oh.
He ate everything else.
Everything but the pits. So the skin.
He kindly left the pits in weird areas of the house so that I didn't even know what had happened. Where I was like, what is this? Oh, avocados. So yeah, he's just also just a big baby. And
sorry, I busted out of there.
Makes my life hard
now. But Ray has been trying to knock down the door. Because it's thundering.
Oh,
it is?
Yeah.
Thunder and lightning. Very, very
frightening. Your way, Sarah and Roger.
Apparently. So, well, a friend of mine, she's going to downtown LA to see a friend who's staying at a hotel, and it's a nice hotel. And she was like, well, great. So much for going to the pool. It's raining. She lives 2 blocks from me. And I'm like,
oh, great.
I don't see any rain, but okay.
Raining. It's going to rain tomorrow. What's with all the rain?
I couldn't figure out why. She probably could hear it coming and I couldn't. Then it started raining and then it started thundering. So
yeah, because she's usually pretty patient with you during the show.
She lays down in the back. She didn't care.
Well, we had a hail today, so we're having weird weather too. I don't get it.
Sawyer just doesn't care. He's like, ugh. He's like just staring at us like, why is she freaking out?
There was some thunder. We had some. When was that? It was a couple months ago now. You know, in LA was just like lit up. You know, with thunder and lightning, which is really unusual. Like how strong it was. And Otis did not like that. You know, there were a couple times where he just kind of like runs to me and puts his head in my lap. But it wasn't. He didn't freak out or bark or anything. He was just like, I don't know what those noises are.
Yeah, she doesn't like it. I guess it's the noise.
It's just, it's pretty common.
It's a rumbling.
For dogs.
Django was always the same way. I think it's a shepherd thing. Like their ears are more sensitive to it because Sarah doesn't get
reminds them of a stampeding herd of elephants.
Yeah, maybe it's kind of similar. Anyway, she's going to be right here next to me while we choose the title. Okay, Ray.
Hale Scott.
Arms, U.S. Arm.
I like that kind of
unfolding creepy digit.
You guys are so mean to Digit.
Yeah,
Digit does not deserve this.
Headless Digit.
All he's trying to do.
Digit doesn't care because it has no head.
Yeah, I don't even really know why I'm calling him a he. Digit is not.
Yeah, Digit is just.
Digit knows no gender.
Digit is they. We don't know what Digit's preferred pronoun is.
Right. I wouldn't. I overstepped.
Not presume.
It's imagine it as a self.
Well, then we also have won't somebody think of Digit?
Oh, see, yeah.
At the bottom.
Well, somebody did. The people who made Digit.
Just do the Gidget soundtrack, but change it to Digit. Wait do you see?
What about if you called it? What if it was Bot without a face?
Bot without a
face. Not no human race. Bot without a face sounds like a winner. Yeah,
I like it.
Cool.
Anytime Billy Idol can be conjured,
Yeah,
I am into that.
I agree. Always.
I mean, it's not like he's dead or anything.
No.
No, I mean, I just like that song. I want us to talk about Billy Idol more, is what I'm saying.
Billy Idol, he was in the news the other day. He became a dual citizen recently. Now,
I
Generation
remember that.
X.
Yeah,
with Billy Idol.
Yeah.
So you know, the Generation X band had Billy Idol.
It's a nice day for a white wedding. I always figure.
I think didn't Generation X did Dancing with Myself, and I think they did White Wedding before Billy Idol did them solo and made them hits.
I think you're
really.
Right. Here they are, Generation
God,
X.
You're always good at these covers of songs I did not realize were covers.
Well, I mean, he sang them as part of, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was the lead singer of
Generation
X.
X.
Okay, no, I got you.
Saying, Sarah. It's a second version.
It's just like it's something that no one's ever mentioned to me.
Yeah.
It's like if Phil Collins took a Genesis song and made it a Phil Collins song.
I wonder, did he ever do that?
Seems like
so.
I mean, he had like 150.
He just made them Genesis songs.
I just remember he moved from Genesis to solo to Disney soundtrack artist.
Well, solo and Genesis at the same time, because his No Jacket Required came out before Invisible Touch, I think.
Yeah, there was some crossover there. Plus, the Disney thing came like after all his Miami Vice stuff that he did, and he had all kinds of weird little things going on.
Do you need a Good Day Internet title, Roger?
Yes.
It's not Walkout Awful.
Good.
That's
like
pretty
that.
good.
All right, done.
Trust me, awful. But I'd leave.
It's awful.
But if I say something's awful, I'll usually tell you to wait for it on Netflix if you really want to see it.
Yeah, of course you would. Like it.
There is some part of me, where I was like, maybe you should watch Affliction. I don't know. It's like, I don't want you to suffer or anything. But you know how I'll say something like, yeah, like, oh, bad TV show. And that person will be like, well, what is it? And I'm like, well, I don't want to spoil it though. And they're like, well, but you just said it was really bad, so I won't see it. And I'm like, no, you should. And then come back to me and we can, be in misery together.
Well, it's kind of like.
I think Christmas Prince, the Netflix original, I might call awful.
Is it a
between bad
Christmas movie?
Yeah.
Yeah. Who's the prince?
Oh, I don't remember.
Just a bad.
It's a made-up country.
Oh.
Santania.
Like, all right, everybody.
What else would I consider a really awful Oh, I know. Apparently, older actors who are like have storied careers bother me. Insomnia, starring Al Pacino, takes place in Alaska.
Oh, you know what? I actually have the Swedish movie it's based on, and I liked it. And so I went to the movie to go see Insomnia, and it's like, why am I sitting through this?
Right, it's torture. It's a torturous movie.
It's right before Dark Knight. Batman Begins for Christopher Nolan. It's a Christopher Nolan movie.
Oh, speaking of terrible Batman movies,
Well,
any
I
of them
didn't know him that well back then.
That's true.
Any of them after Michael Keaton, but before Christopher Nolan, they were all bad.
Yeah, well, the whole not Affliction, Insomnia. These one word, these bad one words where you're like, ooh, that sounds bad.
Godfather.
But it takes place in Alaska, and it's like, as Amos tells us all the time, it's really light. So you got to figure out how your circadian rhythms don't get
weird.
It's
the summer season.
Yeah, but it's like the guy can't sleep, and it's light outside, and you're just like, I just want to take a shower. I hate this so much. I hope I can take a nap.
You know what?
Later.
If you have dark curtains, you'll fall asleep.
Well, but the movie, there was more to it. There's bad stuff going on.
He was a detective, and he was on a murder case.
Yeah,
but because of the insomnia, he
was not totally. He was starting to
slip. Got a little screwy in the head.
Yeah.
Hey, we got distracted, but I want to mention it before we finish up in front of the YouTube crowd. June 3rd. We will be making our primary video stream on Twitch, twitch.tv/gooddayinternet. That starts June 3rd. Woohoo. Now, for about a week or so afterwards, we will simul stream just to make the transition. But after about a week, the YouTube channel will no longer have the live stream. It'll still have the on-demand stuff. That'll still be there, so folks can listen to it afterwards. I know a lot of people listen on YouTube. But the live stream will be switching to twitch.tv/gooddayinternet. I'm working with Preston, aka BioCow, about some of the moderation stuff in there. So just mark your calendars for June 3rd and get subscribed to twitch.tv/gooddayinternet if you watch live. If you don't watch live, don't matter. Nothing's changing. Yep. And we got to embed the Twitch page at dailytechnewsshow.com/live by then too. Right?
Yes.
I thought I lost everyone.
Oh no, I'm trying to put in the file name. Yeah.
Oh, there it is. Gosh,
What are you looking for?
Oh, a friend of mine is organizing a birthday, and it's like a fairly big birthday. And I kept bugging him about sending out an invitation because I'm kind of helping organize it, so that people aren't busy when July rolls around. And he was like, I sent it yesterday. Like, he's like so sick of me. And I was like, I really don't see the paperless post. It's in here. Somehow it got filed into DTNS stuff.
Happy birthday, Tim.
Happy birthday, Tim.
Hey.
I don't know you, Tim, but I wish you a happy birthday.
Discord.
It's Tim Day.
Tim's a good name for a person because my brother's named Tim.
Tim and Tam. They make a good cookie.
They make a delicious cookie.
Tom's Tim Tam.
That's me eating a Tim Tam.
No, it has to. Whatever sound you make has to start with a T.
Tom's Tim Tam tummy.
There you go. Mm-hmm. Tom's Tim Tam tummy. Today,
I have too many Tim Tams. Tom's got Tim Tam tummy.
Ooh, Tim Tams sound good.
They're great.
Tim Tams are dangerous, actually.
It's weird because I think they're like Twix, but so much better. And therein lies the danger because you will not stop.
Yep.
I don't stop.
Oh, I don't know. Twix is hard to beat. Twix is a good cookie.
No,
the only thing I don't
agree
like
with
about
you.
Twix is the stupid left or right marketing campaign.
Is it stupid?
That's just dumb.
What is that? I don't know what that means.
I don't know what that is.
Like fans of the left Twix in the package can now buy a package with 2 left sticks. I'm like,
wait, what? Are they shaped differently?
No.
I don't. Yeah, that I don't.
You know what? You can't say it's stupid if you don't see like how well it's doing.
No, something can be very successful and also stupid, in my opinion.
Oh.
So you bought like
That's very absolute.
do normal Twix packages have like an L and an R?
No,
So they just say like LL or RR
They
now?
basically
they just made it up.
They
It's
invented
supposed to
this
be funny.
controversy in order to
Oh.
gin up
So
sales.
it's a marketing campaign that's not on the package, it's just like commercials.
Well, it's on the commercials. They have the arguments, and then sometimes the packages will say 2 left Twix or 2 right Twix.
Oh, okay. So there is that.
They did change some of the packages.
I hear thunder.
Yeah, it finally came to your neighborhood. Maybe
boy.
rail
What have you brought upon me?
And I was gonna do a nice afternoon walk too, but none of us.
Yeah, I'm glad I got her walking.
I was gonna do one right after. Well, at least I found my belt.
Oh, I'm glad.
Oh, good.
Now your pants stay up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was almost thinking about getting suspenders.
Well, now that we've resolved the mystery of Roger's belt, we are going to say goodbye to the video. Thanks for Scott. Although we must, Scott, say something so we can see you.
I'm here, right here, everybody. Hello.
Scott's got his Oculus Quest on.
Hi.
and he's living with it as we speak.
I'm living with it. This is me from now on.
All right, you're gonna look at the Google Doc for the bonus show.
Yes,
that?
I am. Turns out you can't see that very well through this headset.
All right, thanks, video people, for watching. Audio folks, stick around. There's a bit more to come.